larger than them. Even though we are a large campus and we're still growing, it's not a vast campus. We have a pretty centralized campus. So you can pretty much get from one side of the campus to the other within about 10 minutes. So, but we are growing, and we do have a research park that we've touched as well. But those are some of the new buildings. Also, let me go back to this. The Life Science Complex, this is one of our new buildings. And what we're trying to do with North Texas, we are going to be a carbon neutral school. I think it was estimated by 2020 or 2030, we will be carbon neutral. Basically, we're trying to reduce our carbon footprint, and this planet, we need to save it. So we're trying our best to become mean green, truly. I don't know if you guys saw it, but did you see the windmills on your way in? Yes. The windmills actually turn and create power to run the lights in our football field. Yeah. And if you have the opportunity, though, to our recreation center, that's where we have all the treadmills, etc. When the treadmills are running, they generate enough power to run the lights in the building. Yeah, it's really cool. So we're trying to do things that we can on our end to help save the environment as well. And what better way to use that power or energy that's being produced by working out? One of our largest schools is the College of Music. We're known globally for our program. We were the winner of the Grammy for composition and for performance, I think, a few years ago. So we won Grammys through our College of Music program. For our state school in Texas, that's pretty awesome. We get students from that will transfer from Berkeley, from Juilliard, for our music program. So, good program. Now, this is what we define as a true freshman. So if you guys take a second to read over that. If you are here, you have probably met that requirement, but this is, each school kind of defines it differently, but this is how we define a transfer student. And I think that's a freshman. So basically one long semester, a fall semester, if you were transferring from another institution. Got it? All right. Again, we did have the Eagle wrap-up going on this morning, but if you have not had the opportunity, these are the application sites that you'll need to complete the application for admissions. You're going to go to the Apply Texas application. The international site will wrap back to that Apply Texas application, but there are some additional things that we need from international students, so we did put that link up there as well. And if you've completed your FAFSA and you've gotten your student aid report back, if your EFC, which is your estimated family contribution, is a 0, that does qualify you for an application fee waiver. So if you have not applied yet and your EFC is 0, if you send that in to us, then you are eligible for that waiver. Now, if you've applied, we're not going to send you the money back, sorry. Sorry about that. But if you have not, you can, if your EFC is 0, then you are qualified for a waiver. And these are the application fees. You can see for fall semester, it goes to $75. And the admissions deadline information is here. We do have July 1st as the deadline for fall semester. We do ask that students try to get it done by June 15th, though. That way, especially for the fall semester, we have so many students going through. We can get it, if you can complete everything ahead of time, that will only help you in the long run. Because we will have a lot of students trying to get their stuff in those last 2 weeks before the July 1st, which could then delay you finding out if you get it. But then you got our May mini-master, which is 3 weeks, summer 1, summer 2, and then fall. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the admissions requirements. If you transfer in with fewer than 30 hours, it does pull in your high school requirements as well. I get this question a lot. I don't have 30 hours, can I transfer? You can transfer in with 10 hours, you can transfer in with 20 hours, you can transfer in with 50 hours. What changes is the requirements when it depends on how many hours you are transferring in. So if you transfer in with fewer, and that's for any school actually. If you transfer in with fewer than 30 hours, you have to meet a 2.5, and the high school requirements are a factor as well. Once you get past 30 hours, high school goes away, we're only looking at a 2.25, and then 45 and above a 2.0. Any questions about that? Because I do know we have a lot of questions about that.
If your school was on a 7-point system, what would that translate to?
What we're going to do when we get the high school information, and depending on the system, we're going to adjust it to meet our scales.
Okay.
And then your SATs and ACTs are signed by the ranking class and the GPA.
Okay, so they'll just translate whatever that GPA is.
Right. Now, if you have over 20 hours, even though the high school work is still a factor, we're going to put more emphasis on your college work at that point because you probably need to do more.
Okay.
So if you have over 20, you're pretty safe. But below 20, that high school is still a factor, just FYI. Okay, so a few facts that I'd like you guys to know about is we are selective in university. Students have to meet the requirements basically to be admitted. We do have other ways of being admitted, but those are very few and far between. It is recommended that you apply well in advance to the state deadlines. We're going to talk about that. And then admissions will determine what comes in. Our office decides what classes will transfer in. The academic advisors then will apply that to your degree plan. Okay, so when you become a student here, you're going to be matched with an advisor. The advisor will then basically tell you, okay, this is your degree. They'll apply what you've already said transfers in, and then you'll know what's left. Everybody understand that? If you don't, raise your hand, let me know. Get my attention somehow. Don't throw anything at me, but you can get my attention any other way. All right, so let's say that you want to come to North Texas, but you want to finish your associate's degree and you have a couple of classes left. What you can do now is called a reverse transfer credit. You can actually take those 2 courses that you will be lacking for the associate's degree here and then send those back to your community college where you can finish the associate's degree while you're here. So it's another kind of a little group that a lot of students don't know about. So that way, if you want to transfer in the fall semester, but you're lacking, say, a class to complete your associates, you can take that class here, that fall semester, send it back to the community college, get your associates while you're here also working on your degree. So you do have to check that box that you want when you're completing the application that you want to have that happen.
Okay, if you did that, would you get your degree from the college that you were at before, or from?
Your associates will come from that school that you were attending. UNT would only award bachelor's, master's, and PhD, so your associate would come from the community college that you were attending. Okay, this is the additional websites for information. The UNT website for transfer guides is up here. All of our degree plans are online. So if you wanted to, you could go to that website, the second website, and pull up any degree that you're interested in. And that's what the advisors are going to be using as well. We put everything online so that you have access to it. And at first site, it's just little information about transferring into the university. See some people writing, so do that for a second. Okay. You're here for the transfer open house. We have one every month. The next one is May 23rd. We also have a preview program, which is like a big open house in North Texas. A lot of the things that you would do during preview, you're doing today. But during preview, we usually try to tie that to a football game, which I've forgotten which game it's going to be now, but it's tied to a football game. So if you come for preview, you go to the football game also. If that's what you are interested in. Okay, you'll probably hear a lot about this, and financial aid is going to present after me, but this is information about the Eagle Express program. You've probably seen the billboards up along the freeways. It's something that we're instituting this fall semester. You do have to opt in the fall semester to benefit from that, and depending on the amount of hours, will determine how much money you can be eligible for. So if you have fewer than 12, that's how much, 30, 31, 60, etc. Are you going to talk a little bit about that at all?
Actually, that is
Student accounting. Okay. So depending on the amount of hours when you're getting ready to pay for the fall semester at student accounting, just let them know that you are opting in for this program, and then they can put you in that program. Now there are certain criteria. You have to be a certain age. You have to graduate for 4 years, and there's a couple more. Actually, I have that. I brought it because I figured someone would ask you a question about it. Okay, to be eligible. I know there's an age requirement, but I don't have it on here. But you do have to graduate in 4 years, and part of that, let's say you have 46 hours, you're going to get 1,000 for 2 years, but if you have 27, you get 2,000. That you do get, the state is giving you money also. Basically, the state of Texas has come in and said we need to do away with career college students, that were students that were here for 10, 15 years. So, that's what they were. So what they did was basically we reduced all of the degrees to where you could get them in 4 years, and now they're actually putting in little, I guess, deterrents to make you want to get it in 4 years as well. You'll hear about those later also. But this is a way that if you do it in 4 years, you could be eligible for some type of funding back from the state. And the state will, can't think of what it's not a I've forgotten how they word it, but basically they're going to give you some money for graduating as well. Okay? I know money is always a big issue, so I don't want to look at it.
That 2 years, is that 2 years and less than 3 years? So say you transferred in and you had 30 months, but you were less than 3 years.
Okay, so let's say you transferred in, you had, what, 40 hours?
45 hours.
45 hours? Okay, so with 45 hours, that's what you'd be eligible for. You'd have to do that in 2 years to get that.
So 24 months, not.
That's under 2 years.
Is it under 2 years or up to less than 3 years? You see what I mean?
Like say 2 years, like let's say 5 semesters instead of 4 semesters. That'd be,
What you would need to do is calculate what it would take for you to graduate in 4 years, including what you've taken at community college. And then those 4 years combined is what we would use. That make sense?
okay.
Any questions about that? Okay, and this is the transfer team. They're all outside right now. I'll bring them in later so that you guys can meet them. Again, my name is Randall Nutt, and that's contact information as well. So we're going to take a second and flip the switch here so you can learn a little bit about financial aid. You're the awfully quiet. Quietest group I think we've had.
All right, hi everybody, I'm Tiffany from Financial Aid, Financial Aid Counselor here, so I will probably, I'm guessing, see most of you in here and show up in my office today. But I am here just to kind of go over the general things that are needed for financial aid as far as applying for scholarships, you receiving your awards, and maintaining your eligibility. So first I'm going to go over the cost of attendance, because that's what everyone wants to know, how much is it going to cost for you to come to school. So I'd like to show the full cost of attendance. This is how we bill out your cost of attendance for everything from tuition and fees, room and board. Those two are the fixed costs. Your tuition and fees are going to be fixed. Your room and board, they're going to tell you how much you're going to pay for room and board. If you live off campus, you'll have your rent and things like that. But when you look at books and supplies, if you rent your books, if you get them from Amazon, you control that cost. Transportation is parking, gas. If we have students that are not from Texas and are traveling back home during the holidays, that's what your transportation cost is. And personal expenses, big things. Students, personal expenses are not the same for you as what they are for us. Every year I have a student come up to me in my desk and they put their coach purse on there and they take off their beat headphones. They're like, I need some money. Like, that's not what your personal expenses are for. Personal expenses are things that you have right now that you don't know people pay for. It's like lotion, shampoo, toothpaste, everything that mom and dad provide for you, they're not magically going to be there when you open up your cabinet. So that's what the personal expenses are. Loan fees, we put that in there just so you know. If you take out student loans, there's an origination fee, but we don't want you to have to kind of fill that cost. So we put that into your cost of attendance. So that $21,000 number is for the full year. We split that in half, is what you see next to it, and you have half for fall and half for spring. But that's what we bill out for your cost of attendance. What we're going to go through is how you determine your need. Because my definition of need and parents, your definition of need, two totally different things also. So we'll go over that. But financial aid is federal, state, and institutional money that is used to give the student educational funds. It can be scholarships, it can be the family's assistance. All of that is included in the definition of financial aid. Excuse me. So when we bill out our financial aid, we give out grants, which are on a need base and first come, first served. So you'll see, like I said, we'll go over your need, which is determined by the FAFSA. When you fill out a FAFSA, it gives you an expected family contribution. We take your expected family contribution and subtract it from the cost of attendance. That gives us a need. So that's how we determine what your need is, and that's when we start going out and billing out for grants first. So we have different federal grants, we have state and institutional grants, but they are need-based aid. Then you have your work study. Work study is also need-based. Work study, for example, is like $4,000 that the government is going to give to an employer to pay you. So if you get your award back and you see that you have a $4,000 work study, we don't hand that money over to you. You'll get paid on the 1st and the 15th like everyone else, but you have to go out and seek a job. It doesn't guarantee you a job. It guarantees the employer money to pay you. So it's kind of an incentive for them to hire you versus someone else because they don't have to pay you. The government pays you. Also, yes.
On that work study, the $4,000, is it put in their hand or is it sent back to the student towards them?
The student doesn't get, the work study money is like in a savings account, so to speak. And every time their employer pays them, their employer is paying them out of that savings account. So when that money runs out, then the employer can opt to keep them on and pay them out of their money or.
Well, can I help you?
Yeah, go ahead.
So like we have about 10 student employee work studies in our office, and we have a set amount of money. We know that over the semester. So what we do is we then schedule their hours so that they can use that money, or they can basically we'll pay them up until they use that money up. And we try to space it out throughout the semester.
Okay, I don't know that I'm understanding. I'm just wondering, does she get the money or do you get the money and apply it to her?
She'll get the money. She's gonna get a check.
Okay,
So she's gonna get a job, and on the 1st and the 15th, she's gonna get a check. So that money's gonna go to her.
Okay.
That's the only check you're gonna get.
It's like any other job. It's just more of, it's a benefit for the employer because they don't have to use their money. And then it's a benefit for the student in the long run because next year, when you do your FAFSA and it asks for your income, it doesn't take into account your work study. Because they know that you've already used that for something.
Yes. Does the employer have to be like, can it be anybody, or does it have to be like
Campus. It is a camp. Work study is a campus job.
You cannot be Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. It is a campus job, so it has to be on UNT campus. Okay, so then the next thing word loans. So does anyone know different types of loans?
Subsidized, unsubsidized.
Right. So subsidized loans are loans that the government subsidizes the interest for while you're currently in school. So you don't pay any interest on it. There's no interest accruing on that loan. An unsubsidized loan, from the moment you get it, there's interest building up. So you still don't pay for those loans until 6 months after you graduate or stop attending school, but you're going to have interest on an unsubsidized loan. So the way we like to remember that is unsubsidized, unfavorable. It's there if you need it, but you don't take it unless you have. Okay, actually. Another loan we have is the Parent Plus loan. A lot of people will see that on your awards simply because we build out to the cost of attendance. So even if you have a higher EFC, that's what that Parent Plus loan does. It comes in and it allows the parent to be able to take a student loan out in their name for the student. And that helps us build up to that cost of attendance so that if you don't absolutely have to, you don't have to come to the pocket. Yeah, question? Okay. Okay, so the way you apply for, yes.
On the unsubsidized loan, if you, I know that you said the interest starts accruing as soon as you get it, and I was reading on the FAFSA that you pay it on a month-to-month. If you don't pay that, it accrues on top of your loan, and does that penalize you at all, or?
Your unsubsidized loan, the same as your subsidized loan, does not become due until 6 months after the student graduates. So if you choose to pay off the interest while you're in school, you can do so. There's no penalty for paying on the loan while you're in school or for waiting, because your loan is not due until 6 months after you stop attending school. Okay. The only loan that is due while in school would be the Parent Plus loan. Okay. So the parents can contact the provider and have it deferred until after the student graduates, but just the typical format of that loan is that it is due once it is received.
So does that affect your loans coming up for like the next year? Like if you don't pay that interest, because I know that you're set at like a max amount.
No, the interest is not included in your loan.
But that's just for unsubsidized.
Right, but for unsubsidized doesn't have any interest. But with the unsubsidized, it's not going to count towards your lifetime limit. Okay. The interest. It's just the principal amount that's on that lifetime limit. Okay, so the way you apply for financial aid is through FAFSA.gov. I like to point out it's FAFSA.gov, not FAFSA.com, not FAFSA.org, net, because if at the end of your FAFSA someone asks for a credit card, you are on the wrong site. No one should ever charge you to do your FAFSA. It is a free application for federal student aid. So no one can guarantee you that they can get you more money, that there's nothing that they can do that is going to increase what we are going to award you. You just have to do the free application. You can go into any office, whether you were coming to UNT or not. If you show up at my office and you ask for help with your FAFSA, we're going to help you. That is our job, is to help make sure that students get the best financial advice that they get. And that's what we're going to do. So you notice there it says our priority deadline is March 15th. That was a grants, first come, first serve basis I talked about. Basically, we award out a stack of money. If I get to your application and my sack is empty, I don't have anything to award. So with the grants, they are first come, first serve basis. The people that had their completed application to us by March 15th get top priority. Now, does that mean that people that are doing their FAFSAs now won't get grants? Absolutely not. We may still have money, we may not. So get your FAFSA in as soon as possible if you have not done it yet. If you have done it and you have no idea what's going on with it, stop by our office because you may have some things you need to do. Yes.
Okay, I know when you were filling out your college application, they asked like how much money your like family makes. And I know that like when my brother applied for like Texas A&M, like my dad makes too much money to like be able to have like scholarships other than like academic scholarships. The lady in there told me I needed to apply for FAFSA anyway. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes. FAFSA, there are some applications for scholarship that do require you to have a FAFSA in. It's a free application. It's not gonna hurt you one way or another. It'll take you about 5 minutes to complete. And either way, at least you know for sure. I hate to have you say, I'm not gonna get anything, so I'm not gonna do it. And we actually could have awarded you something. So it really doesn't hurt to just get it done. In worst case scenario, you're right. So, yes.
If you follow the extension and you haven't done your 2013 yet, can you do it based on last year's, or do you need to wait till you do it?
You can submit a FAFSA that says you have not yet filed and use estimated numbers. The problem with that is 1 out of every 3 students are selected for a process called verification. It's like an audit. If we select you for verification, you have to have completed taxes. There's no way around that. You have to get a tax return transcript from the IRS. Yes.
I got an email from FAFSA asking me for my tax info for 2013 again, but I already got accepted for my grants and loans and everything from UNT and accepted all of those already. Do I still need to do that with FAFSA?
Don't touch FAFSA.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, applying for financial aid and scholarships, like I said, you go through there and you would do your FAFSA. This is where you would let us know for summer, if anyone here is applying for summer, you would do a summer aid application. The summer aid application is based on your 2013-14 taxes, or FAFSA, which would reference your 2012 taxes. So it's the current semester that we're in now, is what your summer aid would be based off of. And you would have to go into your MyUNT, just let us know you plan on attending, and let us know what your enrollment for the summer will be. I will let you know if you select less than half time, we will not award you. We only award students that are taking half time, which is 6 credits or more.
There's something there also. The way our calendar works is from fall to fall. So when you come in summer, you're from the previous year. That's why they're going to need in 2012, because it goes fall to the next fall. Everybody got that? I saw a few confused words.
If anyone here is a Texas resident, but they are not a U.S. citizen, come to the office or come talk to me afterwards. You would not fill out the FAFSA. You would fill out a form called the TAXFA. It is a paper application in which you would submit to us along with your tax return transcripts from the IRS. Okay. University scholarships. We have a scholarship, general scholarship application. That application opens up in January and it closes for regular students on March 1st. For transfer students, it closes June 15th. As of right now, as of yesterday, we are.
You've got some other scholarships.
Okay, so.
Can you repeat that one more time about the university?
The university scholarship, our application opens up in January and it closes on March 1st every year. So current students need to, like when next year, you got, just because you're in school doesn't mean you can't still get scholarships. So every year in January, while you're here, you need to do the general scholarship application. Transfer students have until June 15th. But we have, like I said, over 100 scholarships in that database. So every year, you want to be applying for scholarships. You don't just give up because now you're in school.
Yeah, and you've got the departmental scholarships as well, so you want to think about that on top of everything else. Do we have any Phi Theta Kappa students in here? There are opportunities through Phi Theta Kappa and then also through the honors college as well. So if you guys are, if you have any honors students here, I think they come out, they're aware.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. So then other scholarships, like the department scholarships, definitely want you to go to your department. If you're a business major, music major, engineering major, go there, ask them if they have any scholarships. We like to say every department here has their own bag of money, so you want to try and get in their bag too. Then we have external scholarships, private organizations. local businesses, mom and pop shops. It's a tax write-off. Don't be afraid to walk into a place and ask them if they have a scholarship. Don't be afraid to apply for a scholarship because you think you're competing with people. I will let you know that scholarships that require essays and reference letters are the least applied to scholarships because everyone thinks that it's too much hard work. So if you have a 2.7 and you're the top GPA that apply, you're going to get it. You're not necessarily competing against people with 4.0s all the time. Yes?
I remember trying to get a condo number. However, I remember it's a different.
You still get the scholarship.
Do I? Do I?
Yes, I get it because that's the only reason I
I
joined.
get emails for it all the time. So,
Well, you have to be active. No.
I understand that, but I'm going
It may be that someone has slipped through the cracks before about that, but it's one of the worst parts.
Anyone that has any scholarship questions, that one, any other scholarship question you may have, this email address right here, scholarships@unt.edu. Write that down, email them the question. All of our scholarship questions have to come in written format, just so that we have a paper trail of the responses you're getting. Because I don't want you coming back and being like, Tiffany told me that I can get this scholarship. So, email the scholarships. All right. Okay. All right. So, everyone know how to log on to your MyUNT? It is. You did go over it after we did. Okay. So, our the MyUNT portal is how we at Financial Aid and a lot of other departments here communicate with our students. Like I said, if you haven't heard anything back from Financial Aid, you haven't been on your MyUNT. Because that's where we say, we got your application, we need this, this is what you need to do. Everything's going to be in this little checklist on your MyUNT, and then you're going to be able to see what we need from you. This is where you're going to go to accept or decline your awards. This is where you're going to be able to go and look at your loan history, the debt that you have, and satisfactory academic progress, which is really big that we like to go over, especially with transfer students. Your satisfactory academic progress takes into account three things: your GPA, your rate of progression, and then also your maximum hours. So you have to have at least, you don't have to have a GPA to apply for financial aid, but there's a GPA requirement to keep it. So you have to have at least a 2.0 cumulative GPA to be able to maintain your financial aid eligibility. You have to complete at least 75% of the classes you enroll in. Meaning if you're enrolled in 12 to 15 hours, you have to complete at least 9 of those classes, 9 credits, to be able to continue to keep your financial aid. After one semester of not doing so, you will be put on a warning status. After the warning status, you will lose your eligibility for financial aid. So we'd like to tell these students, don't drop any classes. Don't take any unnecessary classes. If you fall in love and you leave to go backpack through Europe, your loans are going to become due, and you're going to be having a bad satisfactory academic progress. If you fall in love and then that love ends and then you sit in your room for a whole semester, you're going to have some problems. So we want to make sure that you're staying on track. Make sure you utilize the tutoring that's offered through the school. That's that 9 credit hours we just talked about. Make sure that you have a 2.0 GPA. Maximum hours. Every class that you have taken in college, the credits you're transferring over here, classes you enrolled in and withdrawn and didn't get grades from, that counts towards your maximum hours. We want to make sure you're not in school forever. The way we do that is we cut you off at 180 hours. After 180 hours, you are no longer eligible for financial aid. And that is whether you started getting financial aid at 170 or whether you started getting financial aid at 0. You will not be given financial aid for anything over 180 credit hours. Yes.
It is for bachelors.
For bachelors, yes.
Is that the credits that don't transfer? Like,
Yes.
Okay.
It is your entire collegiate career. So from when you started taking college courses for your undergrad to when you finish. You can't have anything over 180. That does change if you are double majoring or anything like that. We will add on additional hours for things like that, but you need to meet with your academic advisor to see what those hours are. Yes.
Does this include like door credit hours in high school?
The high school credit hours, those don't count since you were actually in high school at the time, even though they count for your undergrad degree.
Right.
Technically, you were a high school student.
Okay.
Maximum loan eligibility. We kind of went over this a bit with those lifetime loan limits, but that just goes over what your limits are for the year and what your limits are for your lifetime. So when you hear people that say they have this outrageous student loan debt, that would have to include private loans because we are capped off at what we can give you per year and what we can give you for your lifetime. Okay, and Pell eligibility. So if you are Pell Grant eligible, the Pell Grant is a guaranteed grant. So it's a federal grant, meaning if you turn in your FAFSA on March 15th or if you turn it in on December 30th, you are going to get 100% of whatever Pell eligibility you have. It's one that we don't control, so it doesn't run out. The federal government controls it. That being said, they give you 6 years to have that Pell eligibility. So you can take your Pell for 6 years, and after 6 years, you're out of your eligibility. So if you have a situation like this, where maybe you did your FAFSA and that EFC number we were talking about, your expected family contribution, is really high, and maybe you're thinking, what I did in 2013 does not reflect what's actually going to be available for me in 2014. Loss of jobs, loss of parents, loss of benefits. Maybe you're paying for a private school tuition for another child. Maybe grandma or grandpa are in the nursing home and you're paying on that expenses. Come see us. You have a special circumstances form that you can fill out, and we will adjust your EFC according to what your situation is. If you know any students that maybe have abuse, abandonment, or neglect issues where they can't get their parents' information to fill out a FAFSA, come let us know, tell them to contact us, and we can go ahead and get them a dependency override. That does not mean come up to me and like smack your kid upside the head and like, see, I abuse him. He's dependent. He's like, I don't have any control over him. I'm going to turn around and walk him. That's not what our dependency overrides are for. But, So important reminders. Make sure that you do your FAFSA. If it's not done, do it now. Come to our office. See if you need any help. We will help you. Check your MyUNT. Make sure we don't need anything from you that's holding up your awards being done. As transfer students, if your FAFSA is in and complete, you should be awarded. We are currently awarding transfer students. So you should have an award if you've done your FAFSA and it's complete with us. So come talk to us if it's not. Anybody that needs to do a FAFSA, if you have any questions, talk to me. And just make sure you're taking advantage of the tutoring services and things once you enter into school, because we don't want to get you off track for that satisfactory academic progress. This is all of our contact information. We are currently running extended hours, so if you can't make it, we are open tomorrow, Saturday morning, from 9 to 1. So just make sure you give us a call, email us, or come see us if you have any questions. Anybody have any questions from now? All right, thank you.
And I did skip over a couple of things, so I want to go back and talk about that because it was kind of alluded to there. And again, remember I was saying earlier, the federal government and the state are trying to make sure that we don't have career students. So this is also another way of making sure you get in, you get your degree, and you get out. Okay? There are other things that are going to be happening as well. But after you hit submit, once you complete your application, you hit submit, you're going to get an automatic email from us, and it's to set up your MyUNT account. Your MyUNT account is your official communication with the university. We're moving away from paper, so I've already told you about. And by setting up your MyUNT account, that's how we're going to communicate with you about if we need a signature, You have to go on to your MyUNT account to accept or deny aid, etc. So wait about 5 minutes after you hit submit when you submit the application, and you will get an email from us to set up your MyUNT account. Now, if you've already, because I saw a lot of people freak out when she said that. If you've already submitted your application and you haven't gotten your email, you need to go back and check your spam or check your delete or something like that, because it's an automatic email, and it will go to the email address that's on the application. So if you put someone else's email address on the application, they probably got the email. But it is to set up your MyUNT account. All right? Now, this year we're also trying something new. It's not a requirement now, it will be later, but you have to go online now through your MyUNT account and accept your acceptance. I know that sounds redundant, but what we're trying to do is we can anticipate how many people will be attending. So this is one of the things that we're trying to add as well. But I can't stress that MyUNT account enough, because I get tons of questions daily about, I have not heard anything from the university, why haven't I heard anything? Well, you can actually track your application and other things through your MyUNT account. All right?
Also, if I could say something, one thing that every single student that enters into UNT has to do is tell us what their expected enrollment is. So you have to log on to your MyUNT and say whether you're going to be full-time, part-time, and that is how we determine what your cost of attendance is. Not doing that will hold up you being awarded. So if you don't check your MyUNT and that's on there, and it was on there January 22nd, and it's now the end of April, your bachelor is not complete until you do that. So you put off being in line for those grants first in line, but now wherever you are. So you want to make sure you check it.
If you are receiving programs, you have to be
No. Pell is actually determined by your enrollment, so if you're getting something, you'll get the max amount of your Pell at full time. But if you are half-time or quarter-time, even if you're below half-time and you're Pell eligible, depending on how much you're eligible for, you would still get something. It's just not going to be all of it.
Any other questions? Yes.
On the MyUNT, where you accept the college of your major at, what if it's the law again, because on my Texas, they do have a business, but it's something you get switched. Do you accept that, or you get switched?
Okay, there are going to be people walking in behind me also because I'm set the panel here. But so your question is about changing your major, or?
Well, I talked to the admissions guy and said so far you can switch out. Because on Applied Texas, they would have the correct listings, they would have all the choices. They didn't have college of government.
It's true.
On the, really?
So it's, I just put like arts and science. It's not the right thing.
Okay, because it should have been operator, so we'll have to go check that. When did you apply?
I'm not sure if I accept it because it's wrong.
Yeah, you can actually send us an email and ask. It's real simple. But, I mean, that should have been offered, though. We'll have to do that. That's weird. And that's a state application, so we'll have to check with them and see. Any other questions? Yes.
So how does transfers from another state going to maximum credit your Texas?
For financial aid or for?
We have 180 credit maximum for the state of Texas, but
Right.
if you transfer credit to the other state, are they actually going to drop that and use the 180, or is that the state?
I love when you're here because I can just direct it right to you. So you want to take over?
180 is not a Texas thing, it's a federal thing. So it's not a Texas guideline, it's a federal guideline. So it's something that's all over.
So I will affect you. Sorry. Any other questions? You guys want to do door prizes? Yes? Something like? We have a panel here also, but let's do a couple of door prizes. So what we're going to do is if you have the ticket, then you win. So let's do this. Let's get everybody to stand up. Okay, everyone stand up. Come on, you guys are going to go off. Okay, I'm going to get Deborah to pull the ticket so you won't be mad at me if you don't win. All right, what we're going to do is, as I call out the numbers, if you don't have it, sit down. Have a seat. Okay? All right, so the first two numbers is 06. 062. Oh my goodness. 0621.
Let's switch. Yeah, it's 1, 2.
06213. Okay, so the lucky 5, there's, yeah, really? Okay, go out there and tell them that you need it. Do we believe it?
I mean, I did.
Usually it's a hard group. They're like, no, I didn't get a ticket, so you actually don't get a Okay, so then you get to pick whatever prize is up here. It's yours, not the table. 062132.
None of them.
32. Yeah, come on up. Woo, that's nice. The last group drew them. They're like, I wanted that. Okay, I need to verify your ticket. Not that you would. Not be true. Okay, so you get the sunglasses. Oh, let me show you guys. So you know, those of you that didn't get it. The bags here, the backpack. We also have some cool UNT shades. Then there is also a little pin holder here. So you get to pick which one you want.
If you win, I take it back.
You gonna take that? Okay. What did you say? What did somebody said something about if you win?
I said, if you win, we're taking it back.
Oh. Let's do another one. Ashley. Okay, this is Ashley. You're gonna be mad at her next. Okay. Let's get ready to stand up again. Oh, come on, we're giving you. This is the only time we're going to give you free stuff. So the first three numbers are 062. 0621. That's probably a good thing you said on. They could probably turn like 06212. All right. Last one is 062122. What? You're welcome. Okay, so any questions about admissions financial aid that you want to ask in public? We'll be around also. Yeah, privately. All right. Well, we're going to start with the panel. I'll get them to introduce themselves, the parts they're with, and what do you do?
I'm Deborah Simmons, and I work with on-campus housing, and
Good afternoon. My name is Ashley Coulter, and I oversee our transfer center here at UNT. And so essentially, it's ensuring that all of our students feel well adjusted, have some great programs to attend to meet other people, and know that there's a place on campus specifically for our transfer students. My name is Elizabeth. I work in student activities on the campus staff ambassador, and I'm also here representing off-campus student services.
My name is Jay Walls. I'm with the Toulouse Graduate School, which is the graduate school at UNT. And you may wonder why I'm here today, but many of you are transferring in as juniors. And if you're in a field that requires you to go on for a graduate degree, or if you can highly benefit from getting a graduate degree, then it's usually during your junior year that you decide what you'd like to do. And than during your senior years when you have to apply. Many times you have to apply very early during your senior year if you're planning on going right into graduate school. And so I'm here to answer any questions you might have about graduate school.
I'm Sarah Money. I'm a transfer last year at the transfer center. And actually, I help coordinate events for the transfer students. And we also have a peer mentoring program. So it's like I'm a transfer student that we help you guys transfer students. My name is Kelsey. I also work in the same position. So if y'all have any questions just about being a transfer student in general, we both transfer here. So nothing to
Okay, so this is a chance for you guys to actually ask our panel of experts here questions about their different areas. Not everybody jump at once. So.
I'll add a few more things.
Okay.
There are certain fields, like I mentioned a moment ago, where you really need to get the either the master's or doctorate. If you're going in speech language pathology, you need a master's. If you're going to be a psychologist, you have to have the doctorate. If you're going to be an accountant, you would greatly benefit from having a master's in accounting. And here at UNT, we have both a 4+1 program where within 1 extra year you can have a master's in accounting. So you really need to start doing a lot of research right now. And if you're not sure, we're always available in the graduate school to talk to you about your career options. And one of the very first questions we always throw out there is, what do you want to do? And I know some of us, even at age 50 or more, are still trying to figure that out. But we do try to talk to you about your options and discuss whether graduate school is something you should strongly consider.
Yeah, I see a question back here.
Before it goes far, does that only apply to accounting?
There are a few others on campus. I'm not exactly sure in what areas they are. We also have some accelerated online programs where in 14 months you can get your master's.
I know that because that was such a hot topic with being a bachelor and master in 5 years, a lot of different departments are looking at possibly doing that.
Yeah, there are a lot of departments that are thinking about that.
I remember talking to someone at Finance about that, but I don't think that they've done that yet. Any other questions? Yes.
When do you need to start applying for housing for this next fall? Yeah.
Did everybody hear that question? She said, when do you need to apply for housing coming up for the fall semester?
We opened up our application for that January 22nd for transfer students and returning students. We're actually on a queue now. We're not waiting. So if you are still interested in moving on campus, I would suggest when you get on that, you don't get to fit exactly what all you'll be in. It's just that it's how that even is on campus. And we'll put you with whatever opens up. Now, that's normally when we open up housing every year is in January for the next fall.
No, after she applies, she could also put in for a room change also.
Yes, and room change is, and I'm going to be honest about room change, is after you move in, and it's usually about 4 weeks into the semester, because we have to see who shows up, who cancels, who does that kind of thing. So yes, there is always an option that you can get out of where you are living, if you're bound with and that's, it's not as hard as
Do you have to already be accepted? Because I'm waiting for my...
No, you just have to apply. And if for some reason you're not accepted, you just let us know, and we will be contacting.
The first question on the housing application is, what is your 8-digit ID number? And you can get that by applying. So again, that 5-minute email that we're talking about, you need all that done, get set up so you'll have the information to do the rest of the process. Okay, other question?
Is the wait only for fall or the fall next year?
I'm sorry.
Is the wait only for fall?
No, our fall application is a fall, it is a 9-month application. The only one that is a semester only would be spring. That's the only time we offer just the spring application.
Okay. And that's like, when is that open?
The spring application?
Yeah.
I I think October.
Okay.
So it opens in October? And what is the room format, like the roommates, as far as how many beds per room?
Depends on the unit. I mean, you have a variety. You have where you can have your own room and just sleep back with another person. You have a private room.
Okay.
We have semi-private rooms where you have your own bedroom, but you share a common area and a bathroom.
Okay.
We have a traditional double room, where you can have your roommate, and then at that point, sometimes how does that work? You usually pick what you want, as long as you get it. It's a live system. So as soon as you get on it, whatever it shows you that's available, that's what's available to you. So you kind of do your homework on the website and see what's out there, what's offered, and what appeals to you. And in the fall, whatever you pick, that's basically where you will live. Spring's a little different because we already have to go to.
Okay.
Is there any information that can give us about off-campus housing and recommendations to do that?
There's a little pamphlet, if you go to like, there's this little like magazine stand, there's a pamphlet you can get, it has like hundreds of places.
And there's a website.
Well, I know there's ones right here.
It's off-campus housing.
It's just going to be on campus it's going to be on our website. There is an off-campus.
Off-campus housing.
Yeah.
UNT.edu is our website. And it has all the apartments that are around Denton listed there. You can log onto the website and check out, say, like, I live at University Courtyard. But if I didn't, I could go on there, type in the apartment, and it'll show me the bedroom plans, what the amenities are, if they allow pets, how many people to a room. Right now, I live in a 4-bedroom, so I have 3 roommates. And it took the prices depending on how many rooms that you want. So every apartment is different, but it does list what's offered. It'll tell you if it's on the UNT bus line, which is a cool feature.
Yeah, does that answer your question?
So everything is through them, not your
Yeah, the apartments, they're their own, yes, they're somewhat affiliated with UNT as far as, if they want the promotion out, but the leases and stuff, they set that terms, they set how much you're going to pay, when you're going to pay. So that's a good thing to know about is that they set their price, not.
What is a good time to like go ahead and sign it?
As soon as you're.
Because I know it's probably a year lease contract.
Yeah, some have 9,
Some are they school year contract.
Yeah.
You do a school year or semester or
You want to make sure that you've been accepted though before you do that.
Yeah.
Throw that in there. There was a question back here that we're going to.
Do you know if we're going to be able to see a house, or not a house, a dorm or something like that on the tour? Right?
I can't remember. When the tour guides, it's going to be right after this, they'll come up and we'll break you off and go on your tours. They're going to tell you, you can ask them that question. I can't remember if they.
But if they don't, you can.
Yeah, but some of them are not.
Oh, you can just have the housing.
You just have to find the car and you have to back.
Yeah, for the tours though, it's a mix of students, and for the official tours, typically they do take you into a residence hall, but because we're crunched for time today, and we're trying to get so much in, they may not. But you can, like you said, you can go to the hall yourself and check it out. They'll probably point out a few halls, but I don't think they do. So, yes.
Is financial aid applied to off-campus housing? Some of the apartments realize that their residents are students, so they work with it. I know mine does. Just for example, like if I pay my rent with my student loan money, but it's necessary for me. They understand that I need that money, so that's a conversation to have with the leasing office if you go to sign a lease. Ask them, are you okay if I'm accepting financial aid? What if I don't have my first month's rent because I'm waiting on this?
They have certain qualifications or requirements that they will make sure that you understand. But they are accommodating, as far as I know, that their students who need financial aid, who pay their rent for financial aid. So that's just a conversation to have with the department.
And when your financial aid is awarded, we do award you housing for off campus. If you look at the total cost of attendance that I put up there, that was for off campus housing.
And there's a question about.
Okay, if you get put on the waiting list for housing now, what's the likelihood that you will actually be awarded or given an opportunity to live on campus? How long do you have to wait before you get up on it to go ahead and do my part?
Right now, it's probably a pretty good chance that you can get something on campus. It's quickly going to approach to the point. We'll let you know. I mean, we'll say, hey, you might want to look for an apartment. I mean, if you call up, because we have a lot of people that will call and say, hey, should I go ahead and get on the queue? Should I do this? And I mean, I'm real honest. I'll tell them, I'll say, well, we have about 300 people on there. I look for an apartment spot. But yeah, we'll email you. And of course, give you your money back. We're not going to take your money and just say what you said. But yeah, we'll let you know when it's getting to the point where we think we're not going to be able to house you.
And the longer you wait to apply, the more students are actually filling up those rooms. So you want to try, if you haven't completed your application and all that, you want to try to get that done.
Okay, well, along with that, it says something about West Hall maybe having 3 people in a room. Has that already been pre-established what's going to happen for this year, or would that be like last minute they would open that up?
Usually it's pretty last minute, depending on how many students we have, and it's mainly going to be our freshman students, but sometimes, I'll be honest, we do have older students that end up over there in a triple room, and and we have specific, the whole hall isn't that way, but we have specific rooms throughout the system, but less is the one that we tend to wait and see if we absolutely have to do it.
We have enough beds for about 6,000.
Yeah, it's close to 6,000.
It's quite a few, but we do have 36,000 students, so that we'll fill pretty quickly. Any other questions? That's not good. Yes.
I have a question about Greek life. If I already joined a sorority at a high school and y'all don't have it, I'm just kind of stuck. I can't go through recruitment and try and join another one.
Unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that. I'm not a Greek life ambassador, and I only know a handful about the organizations, the Greek organizations. But if you want to see me after, I can give you contact information and have someone get in contact. Because chances are there might not be an actual Greek organization, but we might have it as an honor society. So that is something that you can look into. But definitely see me after, and I can find someone who can get in contact.
Yes.
When can you get your student ID to ride the bus?
When you come up for orientation, that's part of the process. You get your ID today.
Would I have it by the first day? So that way I can take the bus?
You should have it by the first day. You can. It's going to be up to you. I mean, you've got to get that process done, but you can have it by the first day.
Oh, okay.
You can pick it up when you're up here for orientation. Today is not an orientation, this is an open house, so we're just trying to get you into North Texas. Every student that is accepted will go through an orientation. There's a transfer orientation that you'll have to take. And you can take care of the ID part when you go up for orientation. Yes.
Where and where was the transfer evaluation?
That's going to be after this. You get a chance to meet with some of the academic departments if they're going to be available today. I think Web and I've already emailed you that you know have informed you that they're not available, but the majority of them are going to be available. It's after we finish. We're going to have lunch, and then after that, you either can go to the academic department or go on a tour.
Do we actually go to the college?
We're going to actually have a student take you there. Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
Is that having a campus school today or is there an opportunity to actually get a tour of the facilities and more so how to do it?
Well, we can tour you to that facility. Usually they have ambassadors in there as well. So you might want to call up later and see if you can come up. And which area are you interested in? So I do know they have some ambassadors, so you can actually go and do that. Now, they will be available for the preview as well. So you might want to call the business department and set up a time to go with them. Or while you're here, just walk through it. I mean, it's pretty easy to do. Well, I'm not going to say easy, but you can probably find your way around it. And the College of Business office is on that main floor, so you can go in there and pick up the information as well. Just when you get on your tour, let them know that that's what you're interested in. They can tell you about it. Yes.
Your athletes are they required to stay on
If you are athletes required to live on campus. Did you hear that? She said it depends on your coach. It depends on what sport you're playing and if your coach wants you to live on or off. Any other questions? Anyone? All right. Well, thank you guys for coming out. You guys want to do this door prize? I expected it. Okay, let's do this. She's the one you want to be angry with. All right. So the number is, oh, that was good. You already stood up. I don't know if I got very good. The number is 062117. Yes. Come on up. Okay. Go down the road. Okay, the next one is 062104. And Sarah's nice, so don't be too angry. All right, the number is 062106. 106. No, that's good. Yes. All right. Say. Oh, yeah.
062. Oh, just kidding. 061. 282.
You have to be present to win, yes or no?
Yes.
So if it's, oh, okay. All right, so I'm going to make you stand up for this next one. Yeah. Everybody stand up. All right. Same process. 062. 1 0 0. Coming up. You guys are bitter when you don't win. Okay, and one more. Actually, we have 5 more. Okay, 061284. 4. Zero 6-1 2 7 3. All right, and let's do one more. I think I need to check on the pizza also. Okay, 061 2 7 7. So close. Okay. All right, now before restrooms are out the hallway to the right. If you go to the restroom, we're gonna probably use we're gonna set the pizza up back here. They have to set up in the next room. So give us about 5 to 2 minutes, okay? Thank you guys.
Where's lunch?